Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and in this week's Spotlight on Story, we're going to be talking about the Daredevil and the Deadpool Annual, 1997. Yeah, they actually had a shared annual. Not too shabby, if I do say so myself. Now, this was written by Joe Kelly, and he was actually the writer on both books at the time. So he came across this really great idea to have a double-sized annual featuring both characters and a little Typhoid Mary action. This is fairly important since Typhoid Mary was actually just mentioned yesterday. I think yesterday, timestamp, to be the main villain on the Iron Fist TV show for Iron Fist season 2. Anyway, less on that, more on this story. So I mentioned Joe Kelly wrote this, and he interwove a lot of the story between both characters, their current storylines into this. After that, we got Bernard Chang on pencils and on ink. John Holdridge. The letters is Richard Starkings, and Comic Craft, and Liquid on colors. Dude, this is like one of the weirdest set of people just being discussed here. Anyway, this particular little goodie is called Whomsoever Fights Monsters. So a little something out of niche. So we're gonna start off the individual story specifically with Deadpool. Deadpool's been hanging out with Typhoid Mary recently. They got into a bit of a scuffle and he wound up kicking her out of a window. Now this is going to wind up triggering a memory in her that when we start right now in this annual, the spotlight today, it recalled something in her head. All right, something that she'd buried. So make sure you go and check out Typhoid Mary, explained in a minute, 10 things about Typhoid Marys to get a little bit more about her origin stories, and how all of this seems to matter in the grand scheme of things. So we start off with, I gotta give it to the art in this book, man. The panels are spread across in such a way that the top panels, they're all about this mob, more specifically Typhoid Mary. She's going out to start killing these mob agents. Meanwhile, the middle panels are just, it's Daredevil in one and Deadpool in another. And they're going to go their separate individual stories as the story progresses. So Blind Al, excuse me, is with Daredevil at this point. Joe Kelly introduced her into the comics for Deadpool, and she's just this character who is undergoing a serious form of Stockholm Syndrome. Captured by Deadpool, allowed to run free, but anybody she runs to is going to be murdered right in front of her eyes. Yeah, this was the less than honorable Deadpool. He was still kind of funny, but he was also extremely racist. He was wrong on so many things. There's so much wrong with the way that he was written at this point. I don't know if this could exist in today's day and age. Anyway, so everybody's going through their own things. Everything's kind of mentioned what's going on in the recent storylines. But most importantly, Daredevil comes to realize that Typhoid Mary has escaped. Some unidentified character has assisted in her escape. So this singing telegram guy shows up at the offices of Nelson and Murdoch, also Sharp Nelson and Murdoch, when she was in there. What happens here? This guy shows up, and it's actually Daredevil with a holographic projector over top of him. Massive amounts of tech on this guy, and that's going to come up in a little while. So he shows up, he's got plastic explosives like stuck in balloons and stuff like that with I guess with hydrogen in there instead of helium. Like just all sorts of crazy stuff. And Matt Murdock shows up, he's like, what the heck is going on? And when Daredevil shows up, when he shows up, he realizes that Deadpool is actually trying to kidnap Foggy Nelson. So he's like, what the heck is going on? So he follows him up to the roof as Daredevil, and Weasel is up there. Daredevil already, headbutted Weasel, whatever he does to get him out of the way. Foggy Nelson pulls out a pistol, points at him, leaves the safety on by accident. And he says, hey, man, just stop right there. Weasel, he's basically a weasel, so he's not going to try anything. Even when he knows that the safety's on, I'm not going to try anything. So Deadpool and I almost said Deathstroke. Deadpool and Daredevil get into it with each other, the two big reds. And they're not fighting, actually, just, posturing. And they're like, listen, I'm here to tell you that Typhoid Mary's out, and I'm going to help you find her, all right? So he's like, all right, fine. Let's go and, long story short, let's go and find her. So they start roof slinging and whatnot, and this is the part that I was alluding to before. Weasel and Foggy decide to go and hang out. They're going to go to a Hooters. They're going to get some pizza. I don't think I've ever actually been to a Hooters in my life, so I thought they only had buffalo wings there. If they got pizza too, that's kind of cool. Is it nice and greasy? So they go and they hang out and they're eating and they're having a conversation with each other. And Weasel's like, yeah, man, so you're Daredevil's sidekick. So like he makes you work on all his tech. He's like, oh no, I don't know anything about tech. I was screwed up. Oh, well, he makes you load his guns and stuff. Oh no, Daredevil doesn't use guns. Oh, well, I mean, like he makes you kill people too. Somebody's like, oh God, no, I would be terrible at that. It's like, well, he makes you do this and this and this, right? He's like, no, actually, I just kind of sit around. I don't do anything. I'm kind of like useless with him. Weasel starts crying. He's like, can we trade, please? Everybody around Deadpool. Anybody wants to say, I would love to hang out with Deadpool. This would happen to you. So they wind up having a really good time. And by the end of this issue, that's right, I'm wrapping this all up right now. Just kidding. But these guys wind up just hanging out, and they start playing poker with each other eventually in Foggy's apartment. Okay, so back to these other two knuckleheads in red. They go out to this area, and it turns out that the psych clinic where her doctors, Typhoid Mary's doctor, is supposed to be, but she wound up killing all of her doctors, about a dozen or so. And Deadpool didn't realize she was going to do that at first. He's just like, whoa, this is a little bit annoying. You weren't supposed to do this. That was not a part of the rules. Like, they're about to get it on and whatnot, and they're both like, pushing it off. Whoa, hold on. Daredevil's a costume. You want to kill him, that's the name of the game. But innocent tax-paying civilians? That's not what we do. So, oh gee, this version of Daredevil actually has some morals. So, Weasel, that wouldn't be the case. So you're better off not knowing Deadpool. Just saying. Anyway, these two are hanging out and whatnot, and she's going to try and get away. And the way she gets away is she stabs Deadpool through the lungs. So they both have to go and start trying to hunt her down. They're going to go and they find her by the this mafia boss. Anyway, after Deadpool took out the Kingpin, not, took him out, but took him down, there's been a huge power vacuum in the city. So the mafia guys are just all over the place. They don't know what they're doing. I know they're called the Maggie here, but you know what I'm saying. They're still called the mob, all right? So they go and they start beating people up. There's a part where Deadpool is trying to kill Daredevil. Turns out he's not trying to kill Daredevil, and just all sorts of crazy shenanigans and antics in this. Like, it's a pretty cool fight, I gotta admit. It's one of the better fights. And the mafia guys are like, dude, man, we gotta make sure we cover all our exits. What's going on? These guys are, what are they doing out there? When these two show up, this party wasn't for them. This party's supposed to be for Typhoid Mary because we know that she's coming for us. Well, Typhoid Mary does come for them. And while the mob agents set up guards all over every exit possible, they did have a secret exit that they just had one guy hanging out at because they didn't trust it. These mob guys, they don't trust anybody for the most part. So they weren't going to get a whole bunch of security to guard the secret exit. They just figured, no, because somebody might betray us. So the less people who know about the secret entrance, the better. Problem is, Typhoid Mary knew about the secret exit, and there's only one guy there, so she just kind of sticks her fingers through the guy. Anyhow, I've always assumed, I don't know if it's ever been written anyplace, but because of her telekinetic abilities, I've always imagined that she uses the telekinesis to get an extra, power behind her machete slices, because she is ridiculously powerful, like way more than her. Like, you can't just hit somebody with crazy, right? It's not like a Harley Quinn situation. No, she's really eviscerating people. So I wonder if, did she do that with her hand also and just telekinetically? Anyway, speculation aside. So Daredevil and Deadpool split up. There's still a bunch of bad guys to knock out, and Deadpool's more than happy to take those guys out. In the meantime, Daredevil goes in, and he should have known better. He should have known better. The thing is, Typhoid Mary knew better. He goes and he opens up his heightened senses to full to whatever, all right, to try and get a bead on her. Now, the thing is, nobody can really get a bead on Typhoid Mary. When she switches personalities, she actually changes heartbeat and everything. And like, it's not just that, it's her smell. Her body chemistry in and of itself is very strange. Now, she's a mutant, all right? So maybe there's a part of her mutant powers that she's got a very, besides her massive amounts of psychic abilities. Again, go check out 10 Things About Typhoid Mary. But one of the things that I couldn't mention in just that 2 minutes or so of actual explanation in that 2.5 minute video was that she's got a very unique body chemistry, all right? Wolverine can't track her with his sense of smell, and nobody tracks like Wolverine. Daredevil can't listen to her for distinction and heartbeat, this, that, or anything. When he knows that she's there because of interaction, oh yeah, he can tell when she's changed personalities very often because the complete shift and everything. But for the most part, unless she wants him to know that she's there, he won't know that she's there. She can even evade the spider sense, as has been mentioned in that video, 10 Things About Typhoid Mary. But she's, like, her body chemistry, there's something crazy about it. No one can actually keep track of her with heightened senses. So, literally, Wolverine and Deadpool, Wolverine and Daredevil, who else is there that can match their level of heightened senses? So, he goes and he opens up his senses, and she's got a microphone on her, and they're in a club. They're in one of the Magia's clubs, and she just screams out, "Hello, baby," like that, and he just, his bell is rung as though he got uppercutted by Foreman. Like, he just drops, I got nothing. He probably can't hear most of what she's saying. He can barely talk. He can't think to save his life, literally there. And she's like, I knew that you were going to do that, even though you know that you can't track me. Just old habits die hard, right, baby? So they start going at it back and forth. She does take a couple swipes at him, and he barely gets away. But at one point, Deadpool comes in and just socks him, boom, right in the jaw, gives him a hard left cross. Daredevil drops again. It's like, did you come to kill me too? It's like, no, that's her job. She needs to work out a little bit of therapy first. It's like, you're not one of the bad guys. You haven't done this or this or this, and you haven't thrown any women out the building, have you? Oops, wait a second. Actually, maybe you do resemble that, don't you? See, he pretty much knows he doesn't know Matt Murdock, apparently. Typhoid Mary didn't explain that to him, or at least it doesn't seem that's the case. But he knows everything else about Daredevil. He knows that he's blind. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knows all of his different fighting techniques and whatnot. He knows a lot of what's going on here. And he also knows a lot about his past. So Daredevil's like, wait, what are you talking about? So Typhoid Mary starts talking about how, oh yeah, there was a girl, when I'm in my Mary form, basically, Mary had went and when she escaped the psychiatric institutes, she went and decided to become a prostitute in the East Side. And she was strangely thrown out of a building's window because some strange guy with piercing eyes came in and knocked her out. So Daredevil's like, wait, prostitute, East Side? No. If you guys ever read Frank Miller and John Romita Jr.'s Daredevil, Man Without Fear, what was it, 4 issues? Anyway, I know that in the second issue, there's another retelling of his story where Daredevil goes and breaks into... Daredevil's trying to hunt down all of his father's killers, and the last one, or the second to last one, whatever, I think the last guy, he's actually hiding out in a brothel. And Daredevil, Matt Murdock, puts on a ski mask and jumps into this place and starts trying to beat the crap out of him. The thing is, all the prostitutes in there, they start jumping on Daredevil, start trying to hit him, scratch him, bite him, trying to hurt him, because you're not a paying customer. He is. So he's trying to, straight, get away from me, get away from me, get away from me. And at one point, he accidentally hits this one girl, I think she went by the name Lila at the time, and she goes flying out the window. And Daredevil's like, oh my God, I thought you died all this time. I thought that you died. I lived with that. And we all know, even if you're not a huge fan of Daredevil from the comics, you know from the Netflix series, this cat, this devil, all right, everything about him is guilt. He's such a guilt-ridden hero, it's ridiculous. So he's been living with that. So there's a bit of absolution, a little exoneration, right? He didn't actually kill her. Oh, he did all the bad actions, but is what it is. Anyhow, so what do you call it? He realizes, oh my God, this is the girl. And she blames him for everything. It's like, listen, forget about the psyche problems that I already had and whatnot. You made me. It's all your fault. You knocked me out there. And it's funny, the last thing I was thinking when I was flying out that window was that this is the last time a man is ever going to hurt me. And she was probably, I love that Joe Kelly made that, because I think he really understands Ann Nocenti, the creator of Typhoid Mary, because she originally made Mary to be someone who is just like not the extremes of feminism, but she really represents feminism, but in all of the character breakdowns. See, Nocenti, she is an Italian, she's an Italian American, and us Italians are usually pretty outspoken, you know what I'm saying? And she's just, flat out, listen, if I don't want to wear a bra, you can't tell me I can wear, that I have to wear a bra. If I don't want to, walk down the street wearing the clothes you want me to wear, I don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? I do not choose to be barefoot and pregnant and cooking in the kitchen and making you a sandwich. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not her mentality of it. So she actually made Typhoid Mary the type that she's got certain different personalities, all right? And those different personalities represent different versions of women that men historically have tried to suppress in women. Don't be too violent. Don't be too outspoken. Don't be, ultra sexual and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the different personalities of Typhoid Mary were so much that they would represent all of these things, the things that women aren't supposed to be. And each personality reveled in one or more of those bad actor representatives. So great character. I love this character just because, like, when you really think about how this character was made, how she was designed, that's fantastic. So she shoot, where was I just at? She's like, you did this to me by kicking me out that window. I thought I was going to die. I wound up not dying. Maybe she saved herself with her TK ability or telekinesis abilities. She's like, I didn't wind up dying, but I decided I'm going to go back and hunt down all the men who have ever hurt me. And guess what? You're the last one. You're the main one. So she's really trying to kill him, but he's not going to take it. Now, this is something that I got a little bit of a problem with. The things that Daredevil says back to her are, you got to take it. And I'm all for taking responsibility for yourself. 100%. If there were a percentage higher than 100% that a complete model could represent, then I would. But 101%, 110% would actually be like an overflow. So just 100% support this idea of take responsibility for your own actions. The trick is you have to make some exceptions, all right? She has dissociative personality disorder, right? She is not capable of making rational decisions all the time. She's not capable of making linear decisions all the time because her personalities can shift at any time. So the idea that she, when he says, no, I wasn't there when you made the decision to pull the trigger for the first time. I wasn't there when you decided to murder for the first time. Lots of people can make good or bad decisions based on what happened, but you chose to lash out at the world. Not everybody chooses to do that. Crazy is easy. That's the part that got me. It's almost like as if they're saying that insanity is a choice. Now, I'm sure that it can be sometimes, but knowing as many fellow soldiers who have PTSD, I don't have anything major like that. But, I know plenty of soldiers who, absolutely do have PTSD in various forms. And to suggest that some of these guys chose, any of these guys for the most part chose that, it's not, that just doesn't float with me. That's never going to float with me. So that's the one issue that I have with this comic book, issue. I have issues with issues. But I can understand where he's coming from. I don't know that he actually meant it to be that way. I'm more than willing to give excuse to somebody. Just, that's the one part I didn't like reading. I'm just like, what is this? Crazy's not a choice. All right. Anyway, that's what he mentions, and he like hits her in the spine, really like the lower lumbar, and she's down for the count for a moment, and Deadpool decides to stop the entire interaction. It's like, okay, this, DD, Daredevil, I wasn't actually planning on killing you, all right? It was never my intent. I just want to help her out to get some kind of, resolution for all the crap that she went through. See, I'd kicked her out of her window recently when we were in a fight, but we were both super characters at the time, so it is what it is. Excuse me. The thing is, that unleashed a memory in her that she remembered when you did that to her when she was just a civilian. So I wanted her to get that peace, that sort of, reconciliation with what's going on in her head. Surprisingly noble for Deadpool. See, in my opinion, you've got to write Deadpool crazy like this all the time, right? But once in a while, when he has that moment of clarity, he does something amazing. That's one of those moments where you stop and you look and you just say, you know what? I'm effing proud to be a Deadpool fan, just for the very rare moment like this. You can't do that with every issue. You can't even do that with every arc. But the rare times that you do that, that's one of those pregnant pause moments for Deadpool fans, is what it is, guys. So Daredevil's like, okay, listen, man, I can't let you go. He like puts his hand on his shoulder. I can't let you go out of here. Like, you're a murderer. She's a murderer. It's not happening. He's just kind of like, it's not drawn as well as it could be, but it is what it is. I still got the message that he kind of, get off me. You know what I'm saying? And keeps walking. It's like, listen, man, while he's carrying Mary Walker in his hands, he's like, listen, man, you got as much out of it as she did. Because guess what? Now you're not a murderer, right? You don't have to, that's one less death that you've got to live with, all right? So go on with your bad self. I'm going to go on with our bad selves. He's like, if you go out with her, you know that, she's just going to drive you down a dark path. He's like, you know what? That's what's up with us monsters. Recall the beginning of this comic, what this particular annual is actually called. So it pretty much just ends with, it ends with Deuce was stolen. Deuce is actually Daredevil and Foggy Nelson's dog. And that was the poker debt. He was drunk, he woke up and everything, but Weasel woke up before him, and it's like, wow, this guy owes me a lot of money. You know what? I'm just going to take this dog Deuce, and I'm going to give it to Deadpool. So he gives it to Deadpool, and Blind Al asked for a present before Deadpool had left. He was like, oh yeah, just to keep you busy, I'm going to hide all your medication. Try and find them before I come home so, you don't die. So comes home and he's like, here, I got you a present. It's like a New York T-bone or something like that, New York cut of meat. It's like, Dead Flesh, I've got meat in my freezer. What do you do? This is the best gift. You go to the cultural center of the world and this is what you give me? So it's like, yeah. In fact, that's only the first part of your gift. Hold that meat really close to your body. And that's when he opens the door and Deuce comes walking in. So Deadpool stole Foggy Nelson's dog. I think that's awesome. And that's the comic, guys. It's literally one 50-page extravaganza, 48-page, I forget. Anyway, something like that. Rounded 50 pages. Really awesome story. And you guys can get it down below in the description. You can get the trade paperback, or on the real cheap, you can get it on Kindle or on Comixology. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for me. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.